Thank you very much. And I'm just going to very quickly, because as I said, when we responded to those findings that Michelle has just, some of the findings that Michelle has walked you through there, we had to look at what are our recommendations. We based it around Michelle's ecological model that she's just walked you very quickly through there. We are, as I said, we have an opportunity here to build actions into the national strategy that is being written at the moment. And I do believe that it's time for us to really lock down those actions. The first time that the RCNI looked at this was in 2013, when we separated out early childhood and the older child in terms of their experiences of sexual harassment from data from rape crisis centres and CARI. And from then on, we have been advocating for something focused around the adolescent to be put in place, because it's clear that they need something that is bespoke and that is targeted specifically at adolescents. So in terms of the ecological model, moving very quickly through, and I will move quickly through because I really want to come to our other two panelists, we have, we know that if we make these changes now, they will have an impact generation on generation. There is, and if we do nothing, that the legacy of that we leave behind is the negative legacy. I can, is this my share screen now? I'm not moving. There we are. In terms of the societal model and the societal level of the ecological model, the first thing is how we message, and this has already started. We already have national campaigns coming from government around how we shape our norms and beliefs of society around sexual violence, the things that facilitate sexual violence. We would say that in terms of adolescents, we really need to focus on things like drugs, alcohol use, pornography, and online sexual violence. There are still gaps in our legislation, and this is something that's an ongoing piece of work. There is work happening in the Oireachtas at the moment, and what we really want to see, alongside our other partners in the NGO sector and led by the Children's Rights Alliance, is an individual complaints mechanism and an online safety commissioner as part of that work on online safety. We also really, and I think really need to give this its own bit of space here, we need to ensure intervention programs for children, for adolescents. We know that they can be very effective. We know no child is born a perpetrator, and we know that if we intervene in terms of changing the messaging they've already absorbed from their culture, the negative messaging, that we can really make a difference, and we can stop that process in its tracks if we intervene effectively with teenagers. Again, we really need this to be something that is actioned and visible, that we're counting, that we're monitoring, that we're reviewing, and that we're making sure we're actually doing this work. And we need to do that formally within the national strategy, I would suggest. One of the most important asks that we have, and it's by no means the only ask, is our school systems. And we tend to focus a lot on schools, but of course, as Michelle has pointed out, a child's world is much bigger than their schools, but the schools play a very important part. It is not sufficient for us to simply look at and focus on the curriculum content. That is only one small aspect of what we need to be taking care of. Some of the recommendations and some of the findings that Michelle spoke about in terms of young people don't know where to report. They don't know if the schools have a policy. They don't know who's there to respond and to support them. All of those things need to be clarified, and we believe it's time that they're clarified in a national framework of some form that looks and counts and makes sure that every school is supported in responding appropriately at every level to sexual harassment, and that's proactively as well as reactively. And again, that we would really like to see that pinned down within the national strategy. In terms of the community level, it's very simple. We need to be there for adolescents when they need us. And there's two steps to that. One is there needs to be clear referral pathways. Children need to know where to go. Parents need to know where to go. Schools, organisations, professionals, anyone working with and alongside and encountering adolescents need to know where to go. And of course, the second step there is that when they go somewhere, that space is resourced and is there and ready and able to meet those needs, whatever they may be. And that's about specialist services for adolescents. It's not sufficient to continue to, what we discovered, one of the things in 2013 was we realised the rape crisis sector was one of the, in fact in the NGO sector, the biggest provider of services for children, yet we were an adult service essentially. So we have of course that specialisation around adolescents, but that is we have built that organically, and it really needs to become a structure that is supported nationally. in every rape crisis centre in every county in Ireland. In terms of the interpersonal, again, one of the really key pieces here is about the listening to the adolescents. As Michelle said, she went in to talk to adolescents about sexual harassment and they told her about rape. We have to be listening and we have to be paying attention. One of the barriers that there has been to this kind of data with young people has been our reluctance to speak to young people about their experiences of sex and indeed of sexual violence. And we really have to find ways to really be able to give them a space, a safe space where they can tell us about the experience that is their lived reality. And we very much need to support the parents. And one of the pieces, of course, here is that we need to give them tools around the online space. And that's not just about parents, that's about the platforms, the companies that are in this space, as well as the legislation, as well as how parents themselves engage here. And of course, the biggest one to come back to, and this is at an individual level, how we engage with gender norms and negative gender norms is really key. Gender equality is at the absolute heart of how we combat sexual violence in our society. So I don't want to keep you too long, as I said, so I'm just flew through that. What I will say is the report is available online. It's available on our website at the moment, rcni.ie, and indeed the video that we showed you earlier will also be available online.